Hello, folks. I am Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. First thing I got for you right here is from Fox 2 Now. That's out of St. Louis. It said Trump expects to be arrested Tuesday as DA eyes charges. This out of New York. Donald Trump said in a social media post that he expects to be arrested Tuesday as a New York prosecutor is eyeing charges in a case examining hush money paid to women who alleged sexual encounters with the former president. Trump said in a post on his Truth social network early Saturday that illegal leaks from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office indicate that the far and away leading publication candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Messages left Saturday with the district attorney's office were not immediately returned. Representatives for Trump did not immediately respond to calls for comment. Trump did not provide any details on social media about how he knew about the expected arrest in his postings. He repeated his lies that the 2020 presidential election he lost to Democrat Joe Biden was stolen and urged his followers to protest, take our nation back. That language evoked a message from the then president that preceded the riot of the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Law enforcement officials in New York have been making security preparation for the possibility that Trump could be indicted. There has been no public announcement of any time frame for the grand jury secret work in the case, including any potential vote on whether to indict the ex-president. Now, I don't trust grand juries anyway. I was on one time, and I was going to tell the DA he was wrong. He told me, shut up. So I just voted whatever everybody else would vote. I didn't care. I don't trust DAs, judges, or anyway, lost my train of thought. Anyway, you're going to read the rest of this in my description box. This is from Reuters. North Korea claims almost 800,000 have signed up to fight against the U.S. This is out of Seoul. North Korea claims that about 800,000 of its citizens volunteered to join or re-enlist in the nation's military to fight against the United States. North Korea's state newspaper reported Saturday. About 800,000 students and workers on Friday alone across the country expressed a desire to enlist or re-enlist in the military to counter the United States, the Rodong Simon newspaper reported. Now, I bet you they didn't volunteer this. Just like Russia, they're actually telling people you got to fight or be killed. I bet you that's what's going on. The soaring enthusiasm of the young people to join in the army is a demonstration of the unshakable will of the younger generation to mercilessly wipe out the war maniacs, making last-ditch efforts to eliminate our precious social country and achieve the great cause of the national unification without fail, in a clear manifestation of their patriotism, said the paper. It said the North claim came from North Korea on Tuesday, launched as Hwasong 17 Continental ballistic missiles respond ongoing U.S. military drills. And you're going to read the rest of this in my description box if you like. Here's something from WWD. Never heard of them. Southern California reports. No, California Southern California ports see worst cargo container traffic since the beginning of the pandemic. So they were backing up. You order anything from overseas. Warehouses in Southern California are so stocked with goods that there is no room to cramp in any more merchandise. Consumers are buying less, and in an early Chinese New Year this year shut down many factories for longer periods of time than normal. All those factors tumbled together to create one of the slowest Februarys on record for cargo container traffic at the Port of Los Angeles and the Port of Long Beach. The decline was steep, said Gene Circolo, the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles, who announced the port's monthly results in the Friday online press conference. I'll say it right. He said loaded imports in February plummeted 41% over the same month last year, coming in at 249,407 20-foot containers. Loaded exports were up by 14% at 82,404 cargo containers, and landed empty cargo containers 54%. And you can read the rest of this in my description box if you like, but if you're waiting for a package from overseas or something, or being returned, it's going to be setting. Okay, what we got here from ABC News. Let me get a drink of my hot chocolate here. 400,000 gallons of radioactive water leaked from nuclear power plant cleanup underway. Minnesota agency announced this week they were monitoring the cleanup of about 400,000 gallons of radioactive water that leaked from a nuclear generating plant near Minneapolis this past fall. We're just now hearing about it. The leak at the Xcel Energy plant in Monticello was not revealed to the public until now because it poses no health and safety risk to the local community or the environment, according to the Minneapolis-based utility company. We have taken comprehensive measures to address this situation on site at the plant. Chris Clark, president of Xcel Energy Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota, said in a statement Thursday, "While this leak does not pose a risk to the public or the environment, we take this very seriously and are working to safely address the situation." They're talking about it now because they're actually concerned about it, that they're wrong. It's going to be hurting people. The leak was detected by a routine underground monitoring system and confirmed on November the 22nd, 2022, according to the Xcel Energy, which said it notified the state and the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission that day. The Minnesota Pollution Agency, the Minnesota Department of Health, and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources are monitoring the cleanup at the plant, which is along the Mississippi River, about 40 miles northwest of Minneapolis. And I'm down the river from it. You know, ever since Biden got in, we've had all these tragedies, you know. This is from Indiana today. U.S. blasts China for attempt to hide North Korea. Atrocities. Beijing calls it irresponsible move. The United States has blasted China for trying to shield atrocities committed by North Korea from the world by blocking the webcast of an informal meeting of United Nations Security Council members. China has moved to block a live online broadcast of the council meeting, in which North Korea's alleged human rights abuses were expected to be discussed. Reported news. So the United Nations Security Council members are having a meeting about North Korea human rights abuses, and China blocked it so North Korea don't hear it. Some council members are all too willing to shield the regime from accountability. U.S. Ambassador of the United States, Linda Thomas Greenfield, told the meeting in a veiled reference to China and Russia, "We will continue to speak out against North Korea's human rights abuses and threats to international peace. They may be able to shut down the voices of the people in North Korea, but they cannot shut our voices down," the U.S. mission tweeted. So, see, I believe North Korea is forcing their people to fight, just like Russia. You fight or you die, and you're going to die anyway, so what's the difference? You can read the rest of this in my description box. Everyone here from Fox News. Bill Maher torches San Francisco crazy reparations plan. This is madness. We're going to listen to this.
Things in California, they see a problem, they throw money at it. That's it. Nothing changes. So, are you homeless? Here's a monthly allowance. Are you trans? I'll double it. Need to shoot heroin in a public bathroom? Let's build you a $2 million toilet. But nothing comes close to reparations, and the San Francisco Reparations Committee got a whiff of the spending. And now is demanding $5 million to every black resident. $5 million in a city and state that never had slavery, ever. And the people are singing for it.
But it's no mystery. Just check the history.
I'm cutting this off. Anyway, California going to pay each black person, what do you say, $5 million? Let me read the rest of this. Real-time host Bill Maher took a blowtorch to San Francisco crazy reparation plan that will give black residents millions of dollars. During the panel discussion on Friday night with former presidential candidate Andrew Yang, representative of Democrat of Michigan, Maher asked if the reparation proposal is going too far, saying it's quite a lot to give each black man $5 million. Even I didn't go this far, Yang equipped to his universal income policy he ran in 2020. It seems like, when people ask why you are talking against the woke craziness, because it's crazy. It's that crazy, Maher said. And by the way, San Francisco doesn't have a history of slavery or anything like that. It will cost every citizen left $600,000 each. This is madness. Anyway, you can read the rest of this. I don't know. This world's crazy. Under Biden control, this world's going to crap. Makes me want to commit suicide. Here's one from Fox News. Detroit armed robber shot in chest by concealed carry permit holder after threatening to kill friend, said the police. They say here, a man tried to rob another man at gunpoint outside a Michigan liquor store, was shot in the chest by a concealed carry permit holder and eventually arrested. Okay, let's listen to see what he has to say here, Tucker Carlson.
And they would talk a lot about rights. You're right, my right. Everything was a right. A right to health care, Miranda rights. You can debate whether those are rights or not. But if you're talking about rights, you at some point want to identify the most basic human right of all. What is that? Well, of course, it's the right of self-defense. That's the essential right upon which all other rights depend. If you can't defend yourself, you can't defend your family and your property, you don't have any rights at all. You're a slave, by definition. So you may be wondering, in this moment of creeping authoritarianism, how is the right to self-defense doing in our country? We could give some kind of long lecture, but instead, how about some examples? Consider 2 shootings that took place at gas stations in the past year in the United States. The first shooting occurred around 2 p.m. on October 6th in the state of Missouri. A 23-year-old felon called Javon Taylor, with a long criminal record, convictions for armed robbery, for example, began threatening a female clerk, apparently because the gas station didn't carry the kind of cigars that he wanted. That's when an off-duty fireman called Anthony Santee, who was inside, decided to step in. He told Javon Taylor to leave the store. Well, in response to that, Taylor began threatening him and then ran toward his SUV outside. Santee followed him outside because he suspected that Javon Taylor would retrieve a gun from the car, and that's exactly what he did. Javon Taylor pulled an illegal handgun with an extended magazine from his SUV. Santee, not wanting to get shot, put Taylor in a headlock, and that's when Javon Taylor handed the gun to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend shot the unarmed fireman in the back, killing him. It was an execution. It's not a close call. The footage is online. We're not going to show it to you because it's awful, but if you have any doubt, you can watch it. So there's no debate about what happened here. And yet the local social justice DA, Jean Peters Baker, refused to press charges against the person who killed the firefighter. Now, why? Well, there may have been a political component. We know that because online, BLM activists immediately celebrated the killing on racial grounds. Javon Taylor was black, Anthony Santee was white. That was enough for them. They're glad he's dead. Now consider the second gas station shooting. This one happened just before midnight, less than a month ago in Austin, Texas. An armed man with a long criminal record called Marquise Demps walked into a Shell station and became violent. Here's a report from the local Fox station describing what happened next.
Customers who frequent the family-owned Shell gas station on East MLK in Springdale can't say enough good things about 25-year-old employee Yassine Naz. They're stunned to hear Naz is charged with first-degree murder after police say he shot and killed 42-year-old Marquis Demps outside the store late Saturday night. According to court documents, Demps came into the store and caused a verbal disturbance that turned physical.
That there was some type of altercation happening inside the store, and that's what started everything.
Demps waving a knife at the workers, so Naz grabbed a gun, telling him to leave. Instead, Demps began trashing the store. Naz's father showing us the damaged merchandise and display cases, the credit card machine ripped out of the counter. As Demps left, Naz followed him into the parking lot and shot him multiple times through his car window.
So a guy with a criminal record and a knife in his hand starts trashing your store and then runs outside to his car. You see Naz told police later that he shot Marquis Demps because he feared for his life. He thought the guy was going to get a gun and come back and kill him. And that's a reasonable fear, of course. The Anthony Santee's murder demonstrates that it is. But in this case, the DA, a Soros-funded anti-police political activist called Jose Garza, is pressing charges against the clerk. He wants Yassine Naz, a man who's widely respected in his community, a man who actually contributes to our society, as you just heard. He's trying to send that man to prison for the rest of his life. So, but these two cases together, consider them in tandem. What's the message? Well, the message is if a violent felon starts terrorizing people in your store, ripping your store apart on which you rely for your livelihood, you can't do anything. If he goes back to his car to get a gun, you have to let it happen. So get shot or go to jail for the rest of your life. Those are your choices, which of course are not really choices at all. And these are not isolated cases that we cherry pick to make some polemical point. It's happening everywhere. We saw it happen to Jose Alba last summer in New York. He's the bodega clerk. The prosecutor sent to Rikers Island on a murder charge because he fought back when a thug, another convicted felon, attacked him with his girlfriend in the store. Now, that charge was ultimately dropped after the public flipped out because it was so unfair. But Alba left this country for the Dominican Republic because he saw where things are going.
Anyway, this is 5 minutes of 14 minutes. You can watch the rest of this. The link will be in my description box. And in other words, you can't defend yourself. You got to let the crooks run around with guns. That's what Biden wants. Biden wants to take your guns away and let criminals have them. Gun rights don't go with criminals. You know, they get their guns anywhere. Okay, here's something from the Daily Mail, another California crap. It says Skittles and Campbell's soup could be soon banned in California. Your favorite snacks may soon be hard to come by if you live in California. The Washington Examiner reports that the state's lawmakers are considering a bill that would effectively ban several foods, including Pez, Campbell's soup, Skittles, and Sour Patch Kids. due to chemical additives. The proposed ban would prohibit the sale of foods containing these additives in the state, as well as the production of these foods containing these additives, even if they're sold elsewhere. So if you run the company, use these additives in your company, you can't make them in California, no matter if you don't sell them in California. And you can read about this, rest of this, my discussion. And that's all I got for you today, folks. And I hope you enjoyed the news. And don't forget to like, subscribe, come back once in a while at least. And I thank you for watching. Until next time, later.